Good evening. I want to thank Micah Scott for a question he posed on his YouTube channel. I thought it was pretty interesting, and I want to do a little bit of research and explore. I don't have an answer to the question, but I thought this might stir up discussion or thoughts. His question was, what is the best generation of kids? In other words, which generation raised the best kids? And that's a packed question, and it begs the question in front of it maybe is, what's a good kid? What does it mean to be a good kid? So I looked this stuff up, and of course, opinions are all over the place. They're all over the board. Everybody has one, and if you were to canvass citizens of the country, you'd probably get a wide variety of opinions on this. And I don't have an answer, but imagine all sorts of directions for answering various aspects of the question. So I looked it up to get a jump start. The source I went to did a couple things, and it first offered suggestions on how to identify generations. So what generations? So that's the set we're going to look at, and then it summarized characteristics of kids, so to speak, from these generations, and I'll go through that because that's kind of the interesting part. But it identified 6 generations. We probably know something about other generations, but the last 6, I guess you could say, were they're closer, immediate. We have more background and experience with these generations. The first one was they call the silent generation. Those who were born between 1928 and 1945. Then there were the baby boomers, 46 through 64, they identify as the baby boomers. Gen X, 1965 to 1980, kind of a short time span there. Then there were the millennials, 81 to 96, another 15-year spread. Gen X was 1997 through 2012. Gen Alpha, so Gen Alpha is the current generation, I guess you could say, 2013 to current. So then, what's the definition of a good kid or the best kid? How do we define that, and then how do we fit that into the generations? Well, this source that I went to said that you can look at it in different manners. I said, let's look at it under social scientists, so the social aspects of these generations. And it says that social scientists generally avoid saying one generation produced the best kids, of course, so let's be politically correct. Because each of these different generations has a different historical, economic, and cultural condition, that shaped development and shaped people. But you can measure certain things, to a certain respect, such as education, health, civic engagement, adaptability, and social skills. So it went through this, and it identified these 6, social science aspects of which generation produced the best kids in each of these areas. First one was resilience and hardship. So they said that the silent generation grew up with the Depression, World War II, which built resilience, frugality, and respect for authority. And research shows that children raised in these times of scarcity often develop strong coping skills, but sometimes less openness to change. Okay, so there may be some pluses and minuses there. The educational attainment. So they claim that the millennials became the most formally educated generation in the U.S. Okay, and this has social science backing as a major strength. So, okay, educational millennials was the best generation for producing those kids. Social development and independence. They said that Gen X kids are usually the most independent. A lot of more latchkey kids. Research suggests that they fostered problem solving and self-reliance, but sometimes came out at the cost of weaker institutional trust. Okay. So we're getting a little political there. It's all political. Civic and social awareness. Civic and social awareness. So they claim that Generation Z produced the best kids, who shows higher reported empathy and inclusivity and awareness of global issues than previous generations. Okay. Fourth, civic and social, I'm sorry, I just said fourth. Fifth, finally. So they did 5. So this one is health and safety. So which generation produced the most, or the best kids regarding health and safety as outcomes? Across the metrics like smoking, teen pregnancy, and violent crime, today's kids, Generation Z and Alpha, are statistically better behaved than most generations. Rates of risky behaviors among teens have dropped sharply since the 1990s. So, you get to number 5, kind of the finale of this, and that's kind of interesting. I'd probably check that one out a little bit more. Again, I'll repeat it. Across the metrics like smoking and teen pregnancy and violent crime, today's kids, Generation Z and Alpha, are statistically better behaved than past generations. Rates of risky behaviors among teens have dropped sharply since the 1990s. Those are my findings.